Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the forum with the title How Economic System Relates to Ethics. My name is Urusa and it's my privilege and pleasure on behalf of the class of the Business Ethics to have all of you here. We are honored to have so many distinguished guests and greatly looking forward to our discussion over the next 1 hour time. Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays, the words of ethics can be seen anywhere. Ethics means doing things right. Are we being an ethical or unethical person now? But today, we will have an opportunity to engage with the wisdom and experience of all those events here related to the ethics in the economic system. Okay, I got this source from the American government website mentioned the last 2 decades of 20th century were great for democratic governments. The Cold War ended with the collapse of communist dictatorship throughout Eastern Europe, including Soviet Union itself. South Korea and Taiwan moved out of their authoritarian path towards greater democracy, but it was ended in South Africa. But democracy is still not the only form of government in the world today. Despite different of form and function, most of the world government still try to fulfill similar primary objectives. The difference between the economic system will depend on the resources on the economic system of factors of production, because the economy needs them to produce goods and services such as land, labor, capital, and management. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to our moderator for today. Please welcome Mr. Amin. We are honored to have our 4 panelists with us, which will present the 4 economic system. Okay, first we have Mr. Kamen Ao, representing Kamen Ao, representing Democratic. Okay, Mr. Shazwan representing Capitalist. Okay, Mr. Tariq representing Socialism, and Mr. Hamza representing Communism. Okay, the format of our forum today, we are going to have 4 rounds. Okay, so which is round 1 for introduction, round 2 for relation with ethics, round 3 will be your favorite session, which is a Q&A session. Okay, and the last one is the conclusion round. Okay. So I hope you all enjoy. Okay, but prepare yourself to be challenged, excited, and inspired. So what we are here for? Okay, so I hand over this to Mr. Amin.
Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. First of all, I would like to say thank you to all the panelists, Ms. Kamen Ao, Cik Shazwan Osman, Cik Tariq Amruddin, and Cik Arafi Hamzah for being with us, and of course above all, Yang Berbahagia Profesor Madya Dr. Zaliha Binti Osman. Somehow, I feel that democracy is still not the only form of government in the world today. Despite differences in form and function, most of the world's governments still try to fulfill similar primary objectives. Most governments are designed to provide their inhabitants with 2 important services: protection from outside invasion and protection of citizens from one another. I want the audience to raise your hand if you think that democracy is the most ideal compared to capitalism, socialism, and communism. Okay, let's hear what Kamen will say about this. Kamen, in your perspective, can you share with us how democracy relates to economics?
Okay, thanks for the question. So democracy is actually about people, by people, and for the people. So in Aristotle defined that this democracy is actually the rule of the majority and it's a system of processing the conflicts which the outcome depends on the participant. Okay, there is no single control on this. So there's one professor from the Chicago University. He mentioned that he is a professor of philosophy, and he more on the primary focus on the economic viable and ethical viable. And what he defined this economy, the democracy, is system check and balance of economic power and the support for the right of citizen actively participate in the economy, no matter what is their social status and their age and gender. So in another way that it is also shift the decision making from the corporate manager and corporate stakeholder to the public stakeholder like the workers and consumers. So there are one combination of three that mentioned by this David Swiggert, that he said that the first one, the company is worker are self-management. Self-management means that there is no boss in the company, that they are the one who handle all the operations and from the production side, from the marketing and logistics, all are handled by the workers themselves. And other than that, the decision is also made by democratically. Okay. Another thing is that the management team is selected by the workers. It's not normally for the companies. Is selected by the BOD, right? Like stakeholders. But this is not for democracy. For democracy, the company will be selected by the workers. And one person, one vote principle. The second point is that it's a social controls of investment. So David Swiggert, he proposed this flat rate tax on capital asset, because the capital asset means the capital gain. Let's say the property you sell, you get a profit. So they will have a flat rate tax upon this asset. So for this fund will be collected and invested by the government. So the fund will go through all the societies, and the first one will go to societies, and then after that it will be the first priority in the region, the second in the communities, the third one they will be go to the public investment bank, which is to pass good performance, and lastly is that they will invest in the companies that have a good proposal project. Lastly, third point is that the market. Market in democracy is that there's free from the government control. So when it comes to free from government control means the buy and sell will be determined by the supply and demand, right? So no matter in selling in production instrument or anything, they will be determined by the forces of supply and demand. So this is how the democracy relates to economics.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Shazwan? How do you define capitalist economic system, and what are the pros and cons?
Okay, thank you, Amin. Assalamualaikum and very good morning, good afternoon. First of all, when we talk about capitalism, what is your first impression? Okay, what is your first impression? Normally, when we heard about capitalism, I can say 99% will assume that capitalism is all about bad things, right? It's like greedy, it's selfish, immorality, hunger for money, individualism, and also looking for power. So that is the perception from people. But I remember when I was at school. Okay, I was in school. Last time, I was told, or I was taught by teachers or maybe friends, that our society is democracy. It's democratic society. We live in democratic society. And then I went up to university, and again, it's a democratic society, democratic country. Everything is democratic here in Malaysia. Okay, but when I started to work, okay, I work with private company. Okay, And then suddenly I realized, okay, am I in the democratic country? Because the way the company operate or rules is undemocratic. What is democratic? Okay. For example, the boss rules like dictatorship. Okay. They just ask me to do the things and make sure bring profits to the company. That's the reality. Okay. Maybe you can go. You can. For example, university. Okay. Education. Okay. Is there democratic in democracy? Is there democracy in education system in Malaysia, for example? Okay. But there is a conflict there. Okay. We live in a society where we call it democracy, but it is not. It's not 100% democracy. There must be something else, which I believe that there must be something that is more powerful force that drive this society or economy. What is this? It is capitalism. Okay. Nowadays, we can see everywhere is applying capitalism in their business. Okay. What is capitalism? First, maybe I will define what is capitalism. The term capitalism originating from Latin word, which is capitalis, which means head of cattle. Okay, head of cattle. One guy owns the farm, for example, and he's the man. He's the one who is heading. Okay, the cattle. And then I will try to define what is capitalism. Okay, actually, capitalism is production for profits in private hands. Okay. So basically, the production of goods and services is done for profits. It's all about profits. Okay, nothing else. Nothing than profits. Okay. So basically, when we talk about profits, so there will be less priority or responsibility on other things. So we sacrifice for profits, but at the same time we don't care or don't take responsibility on other things. For example, environment, climax, and probably education. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is capitalism is very relevant in the world now. As for history, it was first introduced by Adam Smith. Okay, Adam Smith published The Wealth of Nations, so whereby he talked about theories about capitalism. Okay. Other than that, I'm trying to say that capitalism is just for further definition, is all about running the business and at the same time with less interference with the government. So the company run by itself. We can see a lot of companies nowadays, especially in Malaysia, just to make it simple, like Asia, for example. Okay, they run their companies, and the method or the principle is more towards capitalists. And then I would like to highlight three things which relates to capitalists. The first thing is about ownership. Okay, as I mentioned just now, property or business ownership is owned by individuals, one person, or maybe it can be few, but it's very limited ownership. Okay. The second one is about efficiency. When we talk about efficiency, the business will be more efficient because he has the authority to run the business, to run the organization, and his decision is very powerful. And then the last one is about equity. Okay, basically it is not much related on equity, but this equity is believed that you will relate to inequality, okay, whereby when there is inequality among the society, then the society itself will try to survive. They will be more creative, they will be more innovative in order to gain the products, or in order to produce the products, and as well as getting the profits. I think that's all for the start. Probably we can have later session.
Alright, thank you, Shazwan. Okay, how about you, Tariq? Can you tell us a couple of things here? First, the characteristic of socialism ideology, and next, the similarity and the difference between other ideologies.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. So, as opposed to the capitalism, which is capitalism is trying to maximize profit for the owners of the business, socialism, on the other hand, try to redistribute the wealth. Because originally, it was idea originated from the communism ideology by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, who wrote the Communist Manifesto back in 1848. Okay, the similarity between socialism and communism, they are trying to address the class struggle between the owners and the workers. Previously, how the idea actually come up because of the poor condition of the workers, and then there are too big the gap between the owners and the workers. So the workers feel that they are being oppressed, and all the profits from all their hard works doesn't be distributed back to the workers. So this is how the idea come up. So sometimes it can be confused between communism and socialism. But anyway, the aim of socialism is to minimize the difference between the rich and poor. In socialism ideology, people work to earn salary, but the state control the production and specific service, industry or resources that is very important to the nation. So it can be distributed back the benefit to the people equally. Example, when people contribute to the country in the form of tax to the government will provide free healthcare, free education, and people can enjoy. On the other hand, communism in the society, working class owns everything in equal basis. Nobody poor, nobody rich, and the community share and distribute the production or producers based on they take the production based on their needs, but everybody contribute as much as they can. But you take as much as you need only. So if you work hard enough, it doesn't mean that you can obtain more than others. That's the difference. The socialism ideology actually conform to Kantian. Kantian ideology is more on the duty of the people, duty towards people. So when you look at capitalism, they don't have any duty to people. They don't have duty to other people that is poor. The aim is just to maximize profit. So that's all from me.
Alright, thank you very much, Tariq. Okay, if you don't mind, Yafi, from your perspective, what are the core attributes to determine that the country is practicing communism system?
Hello everyone, by the way, thanks Amin for the question. Ladies and gentlemen, as we already know, the most important originators of communist doctrine were Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Although Marx and Engels believed that property should belong to the society, they don't really give much thought to how economic division should be made. Communist country, particularly like Russia and China, decided on a central planned economy, also known as a command economy. The centrally planned economy has had three major attributes. Number one, the government owns all means of production, which is managed by the employees of the state. Number two, these employees operate under party-appointed economic planner who set output targets prices based on their desires, or maybe based on, or also based on the party desires. Okay. And number 3, because the commodity economies are not efficient, and because also of the party desires to retain the power, the economic resources devoted to the military and also to the industrialization. So we can see from here, this will causing intense competition to the limited necessities products such as food. They even need to wait long queue for tissue toilet. Okay, that's only the brief of mine.
Okay, alright, thank you very much, Shafi. Ladies and gentlemen, we are entering the second round and we are going to talk more about the relation with ethics. Okay, come back to you, Carmen. Based on the combination you mentioned, how does the economic democracy relates to ethics?
Thanks for the question. Basically, ethics is the standards of the right or wrong, prescribed by humans, either what ought to do, the obligation, and something that benefits the society. So under this democracy, I would like to relate this democracy to the value-based theory that were introduced by the Shalom. Okay, actually, basically, the value-based theory is a range of approaches to understanding how and why and what's the kind of degree the person value the things, the idea, and the policy. Right? With the combination that you asking, the first one, the company. So the company for the democracy is the worker self-management. Okay, there's no boss to control them. So what is the unethical thing they do with it is that they will use their working time to do the part-time job. Okay. In the meantime, because of procurement, from the beginning to the end, the procurement, the workers will they will underground deal with the supplier to get the commission. This is very unethical things because it's freedom. There's no freedom, there's no control, and they can do whatever they want. Second thing is that under company management team, if the management team is selected by the workers, so can you imagine if selected by the workers, the management team candidates, they can bribe the workers to vote them. Right? So this is quite unethical in this term. So second thing is the social controls of investment. So the fund that collected by the government supposed to goes to the society, supposed to goes to communities and the public. Right? So what is it unethical would be happens is that the fund will be collected and use it as a political use and marketing contribution and so on, blackout, whatever. Right? So the third is at the market. So the market is supposed to be forces determined by the supply and demand. So example like in India, India is very the onions is very necessary goods for them. So during the seasonal, the seller will shop price the price. Alright, so that's all for me. So this is how it's related to the ethics.
Alright, thank you. Okay, Shazwan, as we speak, as we speak, how ethical capitalism can contribute to a successful business operation?
Okay, thank you, Amin. Basically, when we talk about capitalism and how it relates to the ethics and successful of the business operation, I would like to bring you to the principle of capitalism. Okay, when we look at it, the principle is of capitalism. It started with money. The firm or the corporation was set up based on the money. Probably they have their own money, or maybe they loan from the bank, and then they produce the products. Okay, once they produce the product, they will try to improve or increase the money in terms of profits. So basically, the formula is money, product, and more money. Okay, that's how capitalism is. Okay. Back to the ethics. Okay. When we talk about money, of course, it has to be governed by principle. Okay. Normally, when people see money or they have a lot of money, so they can enjoy, they can they can use the money for their own self-interest. So in this case, capitalism is also the same. Okay, so there must be a principle, because capitalism can be ethical or it cannot be ethical or unethical. So it depends on the people itself, how people govern, how people manage this theory, this capitalism. Okay, and as I mentioned just now, in capitalism, the target or the focus is on profit itself. So the priority, the focus on other thing is less, but it is the principle of capitalism. But after some time, okay, the capitalism itself evolved, okay, from the concept of cooperation itself, no intervention from the government, is slowly evolved. Okay, lately we can see that there is some sort of intervention, even though it's minor, but the government will try to get involved or determine certain things. For example, tax. Okay, the government imposes tax to the corporations, for example. Then when it comes to ethics also, there are a few things that I want to share with you. The first, and that is important, is the value. Okay, we have to have a good values. Okay, to make sure that we don't misuse the power, we don't misuse the authority that we have. Because as you can say that capitalism is all about individual who run the company. Certain time, this individual can misuse or can go beyond or for their own interests. So in this case, I think what is more important is the good values as well as governed by good principles.
Alright, that's a good one. In your opinion, does the ideology suit the ethical belief that adopted by Malaysian? Tariq?
Okay. Yes, I do believe Malaysian ethics is suit with socialism, because Malaysian ethical beliefs are based on religious teaching, and religious teaching doesn't focus on the greatest mean, the end mean, atau it doesn't focus on happiness. It focuses on the minority. Then government will do something to stop it. So that's why I believe that socialism is suitable with Malaysia, because like it suits with our religious teaching, and it also suits with the way we are governed by our government.
Alright, thank you very much, Tariq. Now goes back to you, Effie. A lot of people like to play devil's advocate. Sometimes doing what is ethical comes at a personal cost. If ethics means we can't exploit other people or tell lies, when these things are in our best interest, why bother? Why should we be ethical?
I like your question. Why bother? Why bother? Why bother? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, ethical questions are an inescapable part of being human. We think and act according to ethical judgment at all times, whether we want to or not. Often actions are unknown to us, so it leads us to act good or ill without serious thought. Ethics go beyond specific actions. Well, yes, we want to know how to act right now, but we also want to know how to structure our life as a whole. Ethics help us in a way. Ethics help us to do right thing. It also helps us to live a life worth living.
Minority, then government will do something to stop it. So that's why I believe that socialism is suitable with Malaysia, because like it suits with our religious teaching, and it also suits with the way we are governed by our government.
Alright, thank you very much, Tariq. Now goes back to you, Effie. A lot of people like to play devil's advocate. sometimes doing what is ethical comes at a personal cost. In ethics, is we can't exploit other people or tell lies when these things are in our best interest. Why bother? Why should we be ethical?
I like your question. Why bother? Why bother? Why bother? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Ethical questions are an inescapable part of being human. We think and act according to ethical judgment at all time, whether we want to or not. Often actions are unknown to us, so it leads us to act good or ill without serious thought. Ethics go beyond specific actions. Well, yes, we want to know how to act right now, but we also want to know how to structure our life as a whole. Ethics help us in a way. Ethics help us to do right thing. It also helps us to live a life worth living.
You're still with us now? Yes. Okay, so we are going to have the Q&A session, and I can see the excitement from the audience to throw some questions. Okay, I open the floor to the first question. Yes.
I'm Ramisa from Inland Research Board. Okay, my question is about democracy. Does democracy hurt or help economic performance for our society? Thank you.
Next one question. There is one economist in the 30s, Danny Rodrik, mentioned that democracy does help economic performance. So how is it? Because democracy, for the long run growth rate is predictable. Because democracy is a rule of majority, so everybody have to vote for the changes. So there is any changes of economic policy, so have to be agreed by everybody, right? So when it comes to predictable, it will be stable. When the economy is stable, the company will be making profit. When it comes to company making profit, the pay for the wages will be more higher, and the job creation will be more. The next will be when the job creation more, the purchasing power will be increased. That's where economic performance will be increased in the way of democracy. That's an answer to your question.
Okay, let's move to the second question. Anyone? Yes.
I would like to throw a question to Mr. Shazwan. So I heard just now you mentioned about people view capitalism more negative to the positive side. So I wanted to know, as a capitalist representative, I want to know what are the issues in economic and capitalism economic system.
Okay, thank you, Ju. Thank you for the question. Nice question. When we talk about issues with capitalism, yes, I admit that we have a lot of issues in capitalism. Okay, if you can see the world now, okay, one of the countries that applies capitalism is US itself. Okay, so we can see a lot of things, a lot of issues, especially on the economics, socio-economics, which is unsettled with practice of capitalism. Okay, one of the issue that I want to highlight is about inequality. Okay, this inequality can be based on the races, based on the religions, based on the ethnics. So basically, these things is very difficult because if you don't have the skill, for example, if you don't have the capability, you don't have knowledge, you will be left behind. Because it is like a fast moving ideology, this capitalism. Because the moment you run the firm, run the corporation. The main goal is getting profit. Okay? In order to achieve the profits, of course, we have to try ourselves to do or to use the resources, for example, as much as possible, so that we can gain profits. Okay, this inequality also related to socio-economics. Okay, we can see the difference or the gap on the income between the poor and rich people, rural and urban people. Okay, yes, in this country probably the gap is very minimal, even though it still exists between this poor and rich, you know. And but the effort from government is necessary on this. Okay, I mean in terms of incentive, in terms of subsidies, this is to boost the society which is still lag behind. And another thing is the issues is related to monopoly. Okay, when we talk about capitalism, it's also related to monopoly. So the company will try to prove that they are the best, they are the good. They try to monopolize the business. Okay, and by having this monopoly kind of things, so they can control the market price. So they can control the people, the movement of supply chains, for example. So this is the issue. So when we don't have competitors, so there will be price hike. Okay, nobody will control. And then the last one is I think is about environmental issues. Okay, so since as I mentioned that the objective of capitalism is to gain profits, so they will simply ignore this sustainability, okay, the environment, the climate, and then the resources. So they just use whatever resources that they have and gain money so that they can make profits. I think that's all.
It's good, a very good explanation from Canada. Okay, any more questions from the floor?
So my question is for Mr. Tariq. It's about the socialism economy. It's about, as we know, it's about equitability. Okay, equitability. So, and then one of the government's role is determining output and pricing level. Okay, in the country. So, it's based on your opinion. So, what do you think? Are they practicing equitability or ethical in distribution to the citizen? For your opinion, enough or not?
Okay, from my opinion, the Malaysian government do practice some socialism ideology. For example, whether it is the new government or the previous government, we can see that the system is where we contribute in the form of tax, and the government provide a free healthcare, provide free education. Another thing, if you look at the different contexts, in a different industry, government also provide subsidy to the agriculture, and then to, for example, in previously we had diesel and petrol subsidy, and then now we have public transport subsidy where you pay only 100 a month. So so far it is not bad compared to different country or different areas. So in my opinion, we are not fully socialism country, or we are not fully capitalist country, but we are doing as much as we can to reduce the gap between the rich and poor, and try to redistribute it and benefit the people.
Satisfied. Okay, any more questions from the floor?
Hi, my name is Shima.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to ask for the communist panel, Alfie. Communism always been criticized for inability to develop a sustainable economic system. The abolishment of private property always cited as major for inefficiency and corruption. Can you give your comment? If communism the system apply in the organization, and then how does people react ethically?
Okay, thank you Shima for the question. Wow, corruption, yeah, this is very big issue. I don't think this is very serious issue actually. Well, if we refer to Johnson RA and Sharma S 2004, stated that corruption is a major problem worldwide. In recent years, in the street of Jakarta, corrupt police officers stood by unwilling to intervene while vigilante groups burn alive men accused of petty crime. Okay, therefore, if the communism apply in the organization, the top management will involve with the corruption. Do you agree? Alright, and then this system is definitely not suitable to the organization. Kishima, am I answering your question? Okay.
So, Pranav, are you still okay with the other question?
Okay.
Okay, okay. So I will open one more round for the question. So, okay, next question.
My question goes to Kamal. Since Kamal, we are in democratic country, so I need your opinion. If economic democracy is the society that we want,
So I need the best solution for this.
Thanks for the question again. Democracy is good for everyone. So there are some countries they have been covered together artificially on this democracy. Means they declare that I am in a democracy, but they are not applying democracy system. So it depends. And then the reason why, in my opinion, that democracy is a better religion is because the democracy, we don't fight with each other, and then there are more participants and there are more accountability, and in order to make the better decision in terms of in the company, in the market, and the social control of investment. Thank you.
Okay, so are we still at any question?
I'd like to ask to Shazwan about capitalism. You mentioned that you experience capitalism in your workplace. So meaning Malaysia is actually, there's a form of capitalism in the country. Can you just share how does it work in the country based on your readings and findings?
Okay, thank you, Aida. Good question. To answer your question, I would like to bring you back to colonial period, whereby actually capitalism was first introduced in Malaysia through colonialism. Specifically, remember last time during British. So British they use the raw materials from this country and then they supply to Europe just to develop their industrial development. Okay, so we can see that economic exploitation was done by colonial, and then pretty much earlier, since before we achieve independence. Okay, due to that, British also they implement what we call the break and rule policy. Okay, so in this policy we can see Chinese they were in urban area and Malay in rural and Indian in estates. That's how they rule the nation. Okay, so they don't want unity between the the races. And then after that, okay, we had crisis. You know, in 1969, you know, everybody remember that this is we had the riot, you know, between the races. 15 May, 15 May 30 May, sorry. 15 May 1969. Correct, 30 May. 30 May. We had crisis. Okay. After that crisis, we learned so much lesson, whereby the government tried to introduce a new economic policy. Okay. So the objective of this new economic policy, or NEP, is to eradicate poverty, okay, irrespective of any races. And then the second one is to restructure the society to eliminate the identification of race based on economic functions. So basically, the main objective or the main goal is to create unity among the people in this country. And then a lot of initiatives, a lot of programs have been implemented by the government, and we can see a lot of achievement, okay, in this country. We can, from agricultural country, we managed to change to industrial country, and the previous Prime Minister, which is the current one, Tun Mahathir, introduced Vision 2020, and then a lot of things have been done. You know, as for your information, this new economic policy was set up, was established for 20 years. Okay, it has a 20 years plan how to develop the nation. It started in 1970 by Tun Razak, and then it ends by 1990. Okay, throughout these 20-year periods, we can see a lot of achievement. That we managed to bring down the gaps between the races, and then we try to improve the income of the society. And then, okay, based on this achievement, we can see that the capitalism is still there, whereby the government promote privatizations. Okay. I remember in 1990 or before that, the privatization was introduced so that the agencies or the government agencies will be more efficient in running their business. Okay, so the focus is again achieve profits, but at the same time they try to promote values, good values, and principles, whereby we have to take care of the people, the environment, the climates, and all that. And then we can also observe a lot of achievement by these corporate organizations, and then which is called GLCs, government-linked companies. You know, so we managed to get or gain profits and help the people, help the society. But as the time goes, there were some issues. You know. Like corruptions, mismanagement, misuse of power, cronyisms, and all that. Basically, this thing happened, and it damaged the corporate firms. Okay, we can see, for example, this one of the big DLC, like Malaysia Airline System, MAS. Okay, it was a very reliable airline last time. We are proud to fly with MAS, but what happened now? It is clearly because of mismanagement. There was corruption there. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I read one article mentioned about this the head of or managing director of MAS at that time, Tan Sri Tajuddin Ramli. But people question about his ability. He's not from aviation background, but he's leading the company. You know, the aviation company without incompetence, you can see. So, in order to prevent this, we have to make sure that we have to put the right people at the right place at the right time, okay, in these organizations. Okay. And other than that, as the time goes, after I think 60 years or more than 60 years, the people fed up. People dissatisfied with the issues with the current situation, and they changed the government. Okay, now we have new government, so we hope that with this new government, we try to promote good things. There is more transparent. There will be good governance in these organizations, and we believe that we can be successful nations. That's all.
When you mentioned about the 15 May 69, reminds me of this area in Kampung Baru.
Oh, this is Port area.
Yeah, I hope it won't happen again.
Yeah.
But Encik Syazwan is more like a socialist now.
As I said, it is a mix. This country is a mix ideology. So we can use any ideologies.
He's taking all my points now.
Okay. So no more question for Tariq.
Okay, let us challenge the panel. So any question?
Hi, my name is Hanif. What's Tariq? There's a lot of debates between capitalism and socialism since 19th century. And then it is a general consensus that capitalism is effective in producing wealth, but socialism is effective in keeping the people poor. So I want to ask your opinion on the socialism economy.
Thank you. Thanks, Hanif. Let me correct Mr. Hanif. Actually, although when you say that socialism is effective at keeping people poor, you look maybe you look on a specific situation. If you look at the previous Soviet Union or Cuba or Venezuela, we have a problem of corruption. We have a problem of mismanagement, like was mentioned by Mr. Syazwan earlier. So when this happens, you cannot achieve the objective. The objective of socialism is try to demolish all the social class and bring back the wealth to the people. However, when someone become too much power, they can abuse. So I can give you a specific example. There are countries also that they are using the socialism idea, like the Scandinavian country. They are very successful. So to me, it is not that socialism that keep the people poor. It's actually depends how how the system actually being used by the people, and how or the leader and how they abuse the system. It's not really only happen in in socialism. In capitalism also, when you have too much power, people will abuse. Who's on top will abuse. When you ask question whether it is ethical, it depends on your which principle that you are hold. For example, like I mentioned earlier, if socialism, you are more into moral duty, right? So the duty, for example, is to, as a taxpayer level, is to pay tax, right? Everybody here is paying tax, but how much? I would like to ask the audience, who pay tax to who pay tax and also pay to zakat body? Why you pay to zakat body?
Me.
You are tax people.
Like today, our religion, zakat more reach people to the ground. Focus. They have focus people. Focus asnaf compared to the tax more global. Contribute to the society about the education, about the health, and the sustainability of the circulation in society.
Do you get tax exemption for that, right?
Yes.
So Meaning you actually don't pay tax to the government, you only pay tax to the zakat. You only pay zakat, right? But your duty actually to pay tax to the government so government can help the people.
I pay both. I pay both.
You didn't give the deduction.
I claim the deduction for the tax and for the zakat, and I pay also for the tax.
Can I add?
Yes.
Actually, when you pay to zakat, it also go to the government.
Yeah.
And it's a different channel actually.
It's
But
dedicated for
both is for the government. Yeah.
But
Our religion also said if we give more and then in the future we will get more in terms of the wealth, in terms of the calmness in your life. So that's why when we pay zakat, so it's not about just pay.
Here I prove that we are actually more into duty. We are more religious-based ethical belief. However, when we have the power to decide, it depends on you actually. You want to decide where you want to put the money. Yeah? So back, like you said, when it happens in countries like Russia or Cuba or USSR, when the people, the leader are in power, although you have a good system, back to the people, back to the leader, how do you want it to happen? You know, that's why I hope I can.
I think for the Cuba or Russia, you can look what the industry, the monopoly. Like Cuba, drug.
Not necessarily.
No, the main. The main produce to
Export,
the. So from that we can see it's the ethics. You manufactured something damage people. It's ethics.
Yeah, it is unethical because you are exporting drug, of course. But in such cases like Soviet Union and Cuba, it doesn't really caused by that country itself. You have to look at the global agenda. When some country like Russia, Soviet Union and Cuba, I don't know, I'm not sure back then, but like Cuba, they have like the sanction, US sanction. So you cannot sell things to Cuba, That's why it doesn't really caused by the country itself, but the global also make them poor,
So at the end of the day, this is a very tough one.
It's quite subjective, yeah. It depends on your ethical belief. Okay. That's my case.
Okay, I think I just can open this one more question from the floor.
Throw my question to the communism panel. So, for communism is raised by Marx and Engels. Then they actually tell that all property owned by a community, and so each person will contribute, and then each person will also receive the things according to their ability and also their needs. So they use these concepts to gain the trust from the people, and then therefore they become the government. So after they become the government, some communist country they act okay lah. Then some they exploit the people. So for this misuse of the power and abuse of the power, what do you think the principle, principle that this kind of leader hold? And also, do you think that if there is a leader that hold the rituals and value ethic, will it improve the situation of the country?
Okay, thank you for the question. Before I go further, let's see what the communist leader do. The communist leader exploit, as you said just now, exploit the people. Okay, they're holding the principle of egoism. They hold the powers. See, they hold the power, they control the people. They not allow the people to know about outside. And they even most communist countries slowly adding in utilitarian principle for the pleasure of the people and also to maximize profits. Okay, and they even now notice that pure communism can't work forever. Alright, okay, by doing this, the people can now can have better quality of life, and also they can voice out different opinions, or they can even share ideas to improve the socio-economy. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
One more question.
One more question. Okay, can we allow one more question?
Hi, I'm Susanna. I've got a question to Mr. Tariq. Do you think the system is ethical to be practiced in our organizations or business company in order to ensure welfare of the citizen?
Thanks, Susanna. Like earlier, I mentioned that socialism would try to address the inequality and try to redistribute the wealth and reduce the income gap. So I think yes, it is ethical that either the government implement the socialism ideology, or even the business organization implement the social ideology. Even you can see nowadays that a lot of companies do the CSR. Actually, CSR is giving back your part of the profit to the people. If you look from the shareholders' perspective or capitalist perspective, it is wrong, right? Because like capitalists might see that it is their money, like the profit is belong to them. But like you said, from my opinion, it is ethical. I think it is also accepted in Malaysia.
Okay, thank you everyone for all this participation. So now we will move to the last round, which is conclusion round. So I'll pass to Mr.
Alright, thank you, Putri. On a great session as we had this up. Okay, Carmen, before we end this forum, let's hear a conclusion from you in the context of democracy.
To conclude this, democracy is actually, it will be very economical, with the decentralization and with the concept of the value of equity and transparency, and agile this environment to drive for a positive ethics atmosphere. So, support democracy.
Okay, how about you, Shazwan? How best would you conclude the capitalism system irrelevant in ethics?
Okay, thank you, Amir. As a conclusion, I think I would like to focus on Malaysia. I think Malaysian capitalism model is very unique in the world, I can say, because it has mixed economic system, okay, whereby it includes various things. For example, like private freedom, okay, combined with centralized what we call economic planning, as well as the government rules and regulations. So we are bound to all these things. Okay, so as it is not really ideology, capitalism, socialism, democracy, but I think the most important thing is the mixed economy that we have currently. We have right now. So it is a way forward to become a successful nation. And other than that, in my opinion, with relates to ethics, what is more important is about value creation with good principle. And then I believe that by having this kind of thing, we can have a sustainable corporation, sustainable firm, and the sustainable economic, and also sustainable country. So I believe we can also have what we call, I like this word, this empathy. Okay, so if everybody has empathy, what is empathy? Empathy is the ability to put oneself at another shoes, okay, of another person. So basically, if we can have this kind of attitude, I believe we can avoid any inequalities, we can avoid any bad things. I think that's all for conclusion. Thank you.
Alright, thank you very much, Shazwan. Okay, my last question to you, Tariq. In Malaysia, we have a Parti Socialist Malaysia. It's not that popular. What hinders Malaysia, and why do you think it is so difficult to adopt socialism ideology in this country?
Maybe in terms of political, it's going to be difficult to adopt. Maybe because of the party itself doesn't have a credible leader. I don't know, right? Or maybe Malaysians they don't really understand in full what is the socialism, or maybe they fear that they will lose belonging or possession when they adopt socialism. And I think this is what I think maybe, because in my opinion, or it's not in general where we can see our social, our political base in Malaysia are more into race and economic interest. So we are still not yet at that level to think beyond that topic. You know, we are still bound by the race thing and the economic that we have here of specific races will be left behind. So the political trying to address. And then maybe we are, some political party are into religious, but to be honest, like more into like the same areas. So that's why we cannot adopt fully socialist country.
Okay, alright, thank you, Tariq. So Effie, last but not least, in 60 seconds, is communism the most ethical economic system?
60 seconds, Amir. Okay, 60 seconds from now. Okay, personally, Amir, I wouldn't think communism is the most ethical economic system. Ethic is found more in the implementation than in the concept. As far as communism is concerned, the concept of from each according to his ability to each according to his needs has a nice sound but a little substance. That's my 1 minute.
Alright, thank you very much. Before we end, I would like to say thank you again to all the panelists and of course the audience, and above all to Yang Berbahagia Professor Madya Dr. Zaliha binti Osman for being with us today. Thank you very much again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A big hand to all of us.